Alright, so here's the uncomfortable situation where you have to try to change a site logo, but you don't have a site logo option in your customizing theme menu. So this is where it gets very, very dicey. My first question is, how is this site logo defined? And if I view this in the inspector, I see that it is an image, not a background image. So that means we're not going to be able to do this with CSS. If it was CSS, we could change a background image. And it's inside the header section, which makes me think that I'm going to have to edit a template file called header. So I'm going to look for that. So I'm over here now, and I'm going to go to my appearance and editor. I'm going to just do a search for the word header. There it is, theme header. Let's take a look at that code. And now we're going to look for the image, and the image of this theme is logo.png. So that's the file I'm going to search for here, logo.png, and this is where it is set. So the two ways I could change that would be to go into SiteGround, open up the file browser, and upload a new file called logo.png in this whole setting of assets.images. Or I can actually go and edit the template file. So I'm going to do the editing the template file method because that's a bit easier. But it's also more dangerous, so beware. Now if I go into my place where I set media for the site, I can actually get that by customize and site identity and select image, and that's where I go and I put that logo, and this is the link to it. So see if you can follow this. This goes up from uploads, and then this goes up from the theme folder, and this should work now. Voila. And what's nice is that it does automatically resize to fit the area that we're dealing with. We've got this dark color scheme, and we want to be able to have at least some of these colors in the new site. Let's just grab this blue. Now how do we do that? Well, we can use our inspector. We're inspecting the background color, and the background color is this. And you should be able to do that in your custom area. But this is the thing we want to have, that dark blue. So where does this get set? We'll use our inspector. And we see that it is set in style.css, which we get to edit. It gets set in line 1312, which is where the background is. So now I'm going to go into my CSS file. So I've got to go and find, that's at the bottom, style sheet. I got to jump down to 1344. Is there a way to jump down here? No, that's why we want to use Sublime Text. So copy this, paste it, and then go to 1344. There should be a way to quickly jump to a place. Was it 1344? No, I think I said it was 1312. Let's see, 1312. And here's where it gets set, heading container background. So I'm going to go and grab that color again, which is this one. Now, I don't want to overwrite something else because you never know if I might want to go back to it. So I'm going to write background here. And then I want to comment this one out. So, and whenever you do a comment, you want to put your initials so you can find things quickly. So I can just do a search for MBM, and then that's how I'd get to that. Now now that I've got this whole thing, I'm going to say File, Save As, and I'm going to save to say what thing I did. So I want to have a folder in my desktop for this kind of thing. Right now I don't, and I'm going to call it Theme Color 1. And I may do another one, CSS. Now that I saved it as CSS, it knows CSS and it gives me all my color highlighting. So I'm going to continue to use this file to make my successive edits. And this tells me that I didn't make any mistakes because the colors are proper. Copy all that code, go back to WordPress, paste the code, update the file, go back to my file and reload it, and if I am lucky, which I was not. So now I have to figure out what happened. Inspect. So in 1312, it is still showing that same background. So our question is, why didn't it change? Now what we know is we are not in control of our CSS. What file does this say it's in? It says it's in style.css, but then it has this version. And what that makes me think is that there's some kind of version control where some files get loaded and some files don't. And if we go to 1312, we see that it is not. So how do we change the version of a CSS file and make it active? Well, the problem here is that SiteGround automatically has a cache, which means that it saves the old version, and even when you make a new version, you don't get to have a change. This is the page about the SiteGround cache, and it says that the way to flush it is to go to the cache button over here, and that means we have to get to our SiteGround dashboard, super cacher page, and we need to get to My Accounts, and then we want to go to our cPanel, and now we have to find our super cache. Oh, there it is. I see it right here. And now we know that this is something that we want to keep open whenever we're doing work. In fact, it might be a good idea to bookmark this. So I'm just going to do that now to make it easy to get back to. And I'm now going to do a master flush. And now go back to our site. And let's find out, did that work? It did. Excellent. So now you know how to take control of your site.